It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of July 12th, 1996. I only got 3 movies to look at today, so let's go ahead and jump on into it, and we'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, Denzel Washington and Meg Ryan starring in the war film, Courage Under Fire.
Mattel, find me a target. I think I know one, sir. Do you or do you not have a target? It's hard to make out, sir. Fire! Sir! Patella, is that one of our tanks?
A man with questions about his own conduct.
Losing a man like your friend Boileau. I've been there.
Must now defend the courage of another.
The White House has heard that we're considering the Medal of Honor for this chopper pilot who saved a bunch of guys on the down Black Hawk. Naturally, they want it for Veterans Day. Naturally. It's a woman. You didn't know? This is Captain Karen Walden. She's the first woman in history to be nominated for a Medal of Honor for combat.
I don't know if it was Captain Walden, sir, but that Huey saved our lives.
What happened out there, Sergeant?
You don't want to know what happened out there, sir.
Yes, I do.
What happened next isn't important. It's what happened that night.
We stayed with Brady. I wouldn't risk your life. I won't risk his.
She sure as hell saved the lives of those guys on the Black Hawk.
The captain was hurt pretty bad. Look, I didn't want her out there in the first place.
In his search for answers,
What is it? Tell me, son.
the only thing more powerful than the facts he might find
No surrender.
is the truth he can't escape.
He was like a brother to me.
Now, it doesn't matter whether she gets this award or not. It doesn't matter whether I'm on this inquiry. It doesn't matter whether I'm in this army or not. I'm gonna find out the truth. I guarantee you that.
I mean, you see the barrage of talent that's all over this movie. Matt Damon, one of his early film roles. Lou Diamond Phillips. They even got Balky from Perfect Strangers in here, playing a very straightforward role in this, unlike some of the other roles he's played here in other movies. You got Regina Taylor, you've got Michael Moriarty from Law and Order, you've got Sean Astin, Sean Patrick Thomas. I mean, hell, man, one of the biggest stars of the movie. Corey Coleman is in this movie too. Let him explain it.
But I was in, the closest I came to my dream was in Courage Under Fire. Did you ever hear this?
No. Yeah, he was in it.
In Courage Under Fire.
No joke.
No, I'm not lying. The movie Courage Under Fire that he was in, I was an extra in that, and they actually gave me lines. Now, you couldn't hear them because I had to mouth them without saying anything. But
Carrots and peas. Carrots and peas.
Oh, it was better than that. People, if you look for Courage Under Fire, you'll see me in there. And I'm wearing headphones, and I forgot who the actor is that I'm next to. It's a famous actor. But I'm sitting up there, and they told me, now, don't say anything. Just do call signs. And at the time, I was in the National Guard. They said, so you're a military guy. You know, whatever military thing that you do, that you call out, do that. Just don't say it. Just mouth it off. Now, here's the thing, people. For all you lip readers out there, the military shit that I was calling out to people, I was calling out Cocoa Puffs, Captain Crunch, Frosted Flakes. You know, I was calling out cereal, man.
Count Chocula.
Count Chocula. Rice Krispies.
Because where did they shoot that? Was it Killeen?
No, it was here.
It was in Austin?
It was in Austin.
Okay.
Yeah, I shot that here. Cocoa Puffs, Rice Krispies. You know, I was doing all that shit. And, you know, and the whole time, I almost couldn't do it because the whole time in the next room, Denzel was there. I even heard them doing some stuff over there. It's a dream of mine come true.
Maybe biggest star is a little bit of an over-exaggeration, but if you've been following my stuff for years now, over the past decade, and even before that, you know that Spill.com played a huge part in this website coming to life, and eventually to this channel. And Corey, of course, is one of the main guys on Spill.com and now on Double Toasted. And he was in this movie as a cameo because they shot the film in Austin, Texas. He was in the National Guard when this came. I don't know if it was around is when this movie came out or before then, but he was in the National Guard, and they basically told him, like as they said in that clip, to just, you're a military guy, just come up with these call signs, and basically he just was mouthing these various cereal things like Count Chocula and all that type of stuff, and it's not really that significant to my overall review for it. I just wanted to bring that up because it's one of the 2 movies in 1996 that Corey actually had a notable presence in. We'll get to the other one once we get to Space Jam, but let's get to. But of course, the main reason people went to this movie is because of Denzel Washington and even Meg Ryan. Even though I think her star power was lowering a little bit than what it used to be, probably almost 5 years prior to this, but I mean, she's really good in the movie. I mean, this is a really solid film. I mean. And largely because of the leading actors in here. Denzel Washington, of course, is Denzel Washington. I've said it before, I'll say it again. He's probably the greatest actor we have working right now because he'll usually take a movie that should not be that great and he'll just give it his all. And really, like I said, I've said it before, I don't think I've ever seen him in a movie where he's not giving 110%, even if it could be the worst movie he's ever been in. He's still doing the best he can to entertain and show everybody that, hey, I'm a pretty damn good actor, and he more than proves it here. And Meg Ryan is overall really good in the film. I really liked her in this film a lot. I think this is a performance that gets very underrated by a lot of people, but she really does give it her all in this movie, and I think that's really one of the strongest elements to the film. You also have it's also because of Edward Zwick. This is a guy that we've talked about in the past before. He's done great things such as Legends of the Fall. He's done Glory, About Last Night. I mean, this is a guy that has such a great track record, not just in films but also in television. This is the guy that also did 30-something and also was a big part of My So-Called Life. And it's just he's just such an amazing filmmaker, like not just a great writer but a great director too. And he creates a very damn impressive film that is very gripping. It's a very intriguing tale about this guy who he's basically got to review these merits of this officer that's fallen, and he's also got to confront his own demons because he has some things going on in his past, and it's basically depicting the terrors of war. I mean, that's literally what the consensus for this movie was on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's literally showing that on screen. I mean, everybody in here is giving a fantastic performance, but not only that, you have great music to go along with it. This has got great cinematography from Roger Deakins. I mean, one of the great cinematographers of all time. I mean, everything about this movie is just so well put together. It's a strong, well-made film. It's a film that I can't recommend enough. If you haven't seen this movie, I'd highly recommend checking it out because it really is a really good, underrated film. I don't think a lot of people give this movie a lot of credit, but the performances in this movie are also good. I feel like if this movie had come out later in the year, this probably would have been considered one of the best pictures of the year at the Oscars, but for what it is, it's a really damn good movie. It's a film I saw very late on. I didn't see this until about almost 20 years later, and it still has had an effect on me ever since seeing it, and it's just such an amazing film. I can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen Courage Under Fire, I highly recommend checking it out. You will not be disappointed by it at all. So, that's Courage Under Fire. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next movie, and that is Harriet the Spy.
Some kids collect insects. Others collect dolls. Harriet M. Welch collects secrets.
What was that?
Shake it up, take a sip, and wish for what you like most in the world.
I want to see the whole world, and I want to write down everything.
Hey, what are you writing?
Notes.
Can we read them?
Can you read this?
There's no lead she won't follow.
Stop! Thief!
No question she won't ask.
What wouldn't you eat for $1 million? Camel burgers, dry roadkill, and my dad's meatloaf.
And no way she'll ever get caught.
Where's my notebook? Looks like there's something in here for everyone.
You wrote down the truth in your notebook, and your friends who weren't supposed to see it did.
Harriet.
Harriet?
Harriet!
Harriet the Spy.
I'm in trouble. Paramount Pictures presents Rosie O'Donnell.
Golly!
Good friends are one of life's blessings. Don't give them up without a fight.
And introducing Michelle Trachtenberg.
Harriet?
Good too.
In the first motion picture from Nickelodeon. See the world through the eyes of a spy.
I'm never caught. You're right. I'm never caught. Oh, look, ugly waterfall! Watch out.
Harriet the Spy.
Jamie, what is this supposed to be?
No, Mom, don't touch it. I am a spy. It's a good life.
Harriet the Spy. Sneaking to video stores soon.
I mean, when you think of a movie by Nickelodeon, this is the first Nickelodeon movie to hit the big screen, you pretty much get what you expect here. I mean, interesting note, by the way, I don't think a lot of people realize this, but back in 1993, Nickelodeon actually made a deal with 20th Century Fox to actually produce movies based off of their shows. There was going to be a movie about Doug, there was going to be a movie about the Rugrats, there was going to be a movie about Ren and Stimpy, that were all going to be put out by 20th Century Fox, but unfortunately, that deal never came through because it was mostly because of Ren and Stimpy. They had a hard time making a feature film that was intended for children, for kids to see, based around Ren and Stimpy. I believe that was one of the reasons why they didn't do it. But of course, those movies didn't happen and then shortly after, when Nickelodeon got picked up by Viacom, which of course is Paramount Pictures, or is under where Paramount Pictures is at. And of course, the rest is history. They've been part of that studio now for over almost 30 years now. But think about what we almost had. We almost had the entire Nickelodeon lineup now under Disney. And think about what the ramifications of what would have happened if we had gotten those movies. If we would have gotten a Doug movie from Fox, if we got a Rugrats movie from Fox, a Ren and Stimpy movie from Fox, they'd all be in the Disney library. I mean, that's really incredible to think about. That's one of those stories that really, it's really one of those what if stories. Like, what if that actually happened? But of course, that didn't happen. There was a Doug movie eventually released by Disney, but it wasn't the same Doug from the Nickelodeon era. And once we get to Doug's first movie, we'll talk about that one. We also got a Rugrats movie, and we'll eventually get to that one as well. Still have never gotten a Ren and Stimpy movie. We've gotten reboots. A lot of them have been really good. Actually, we just had the Adult Party cartoon, which was a huge mixed bag of a thing. But there's a Ren and Stimpy reboot coming out soon on Comedy Central, so we'll see how that one pans out. But we're not talking about those. We're talking about Harriet the Spy. And when you look at the movie, like I said, you definitely get a sense that this is being shot like an episode of Pete and Pete blown up for the big screen. I mean, Michelle Trachtenberg was on The Adventures of Pete and Pete. Which is both kind of a positive and a negative. It's a positive because you get the sense right away this is a Nickelodeon project right off the bat, but it's also a negative because it makes it feel like it's more of a TV movie than an actual movie, especially when you consider the biggest star of the film at the time is Rosie O'Donnell, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Rosie O'Donnell was a big star, and I think her talk show, which went on to become a hit for a number of years, started around the time this movie came out, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know if it was right around this time or was it in the fall of that year. But that show came out around the same time as this, and I thought she was all right in this movie. I think she brought a lot of heart and charm to the role here, as does Michelle Trachtenberg as Harriet. Both of them work off each other very well. The kids themselves are not too bad either. They get the job done. They work well with the material given to them. I do overall enjoy the film a lot, but I enjoy more of the first half than the second half. The second half just doesn't quite work as well as the first, because you got its entire existence is there because of the infamous cliche of the liar revealed. Usually something that takes up about 10 minutes of a film to stretch time out, but it's the entire second half of the movie, and it becomes boring and somewhat uncomfortable to watch at times. Like the scene where the kids are just throwing paint all over, and you just get so uncomfortable watching this. And yeah, you're supposed to hate Harriet for the stuff she does afterwards before she starts getting revenge on it, because she's getting revenge on everybody, and it's so insane that she has to be sent to a psychologist. But, you know, if every kid is throwing paint on you on purpose, wouldn't you do the same thing too? I mean, this is the definition of being This is a literal definition of being bullied, and, you know, it's stuff like that just, I don't know, it just doesn't make me really enjoy the second half of the film more than I do the first half. But overall, I will say that the resolution that actually happens at the end does work, and Golly basically tells Harriet to just apologize and lie, and how they present this to us. It's a nice little lesson on how to deal with the situation, so it does come around again in the end. And I still enjoy the movie. I do think it is a solid film. I think there are a lot of redeemable qualities to it, but when it comes to the cliches, I think it kind of falls flat where there's trying to be hard and life lessons told. It works fine for what it is. It's a very mixed bag film. It could have been a whole lot better for what it was, but I think it does its job just enough to recommend it. I think kids can really get into it, and I think adults can really get into it as well, but I just wish that second half was a lot more creative than what we got. That's just my take on it, so that's Harriet the Spy. Let's go ahead and take a look at our last movie, and that is The Visitors. Now, you might be wondering, this looks very familiar, and you may remember that there was a film called Just Visiting that came out in 2001 that was literally the same plot. It is basically an American remake of this movie, so much so that they actually brought in the stars of this movie, Christian Claver and Jean Reno, to come in and do that film. And I remember hearing about that movie. I just don't remember anything. I've never seen it before, so I don't know if it's really good or not. I still got a couple of years before we get to that film, so hopefully by the time that comes around, I'll check it out. But I was surprised. I did not realize that this was the film that remake was based off of. And supposedly there's a lot of these movies. There's a sequel that was based off of this particular film. They actually did a remake of a sequel to the American version, which actually came out 15 years afterward. And you see the premise right there. Basically a fish out of water story with a knight and his squire traveling in time to the end of the 20th century and finding themselves in modern society. It's basically a reversal of A Kid in King Arthur's Court, pretty much, where in that film it was the kid from the 20th century going back to the 12th century, and now it's the other way around. And I haven't seen this movie, and I don't really know if it's good or not, or the remake, honestly, but I mean, it does sound like a fun little premise, or something that could actually make for a really entertaining film, honestly. If you guys know what it is, how this movie is, or what the remake is like, let me know down below. I'm actually really kind of curious to see if it's actually as good as they're making it out to be, or was it just something that was just kind of a success that really didn't really do, that was just there and people went to go see it. I mean, I don't know. Let me know down below what you think about it, because I really don't know anything about the original film. So that is The Visitors, aka Les Visiteurs. I apologize for that. That's going to do it for another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we'll look at the films of July 19th. We actually have 6 movies to look at, so more this time around, including Peter Jackson's The Frighteners with Michael J. Fox, Lawrence Fishburne and Stephen Dorff in Fled, Michael Keaton in Multiplicity from director Harold Ramis, Shaquille O'Neal's infamous bomb Kazam, Danny Boyle's Trainspotting, and also Girlfriend. So 6 movies to look at next time around, and we'll delve into those on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you very much for watching, I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.